So I've been meaning to make a video on this topic for a while, and a recent video by the Mad Punter on Apple's difficulty systems finally gave me the motivation to make it. So first things first, this video is on Apple's main difficulty system, which is called the Michael scale, or the explosion scale, or the E-number scale, and this difficulty system is terrible. But it somehow still kinda works, even though it has a bunch of problems. The first main problem with the difficulty scale is the transition between the primary unit, explosions, and the secondary unit, bombs. This transition is not perfect, but in theory, 1 bomb is equivalent to 10 explosions, and 2 bombs is equivalent to 20 explosions, and so on, and so on. This, however, is not the case, and is where the system becomes incredibly inconsistent. 1 bomb is still equivalent to 10 explosions, but that 1 bomb also includes levels that are 11 and 12 explosions. 2 bombs are not actually 20 explosions, but are more the range of 13 through 15 explosions. This weird system continues just adding 3 explosions worth to the range for each additional bomb. This is confusing, but somehow fixes a major issue the scale would have if it worked as intended. The range difficulty below 1 bomb is so large that if the same range was applied to the 1 bomb levels, you would have either encountered a fun yet advanced level, or a top 5 abomination. So how it functions in actuality allows it to be more specific, with the drawback of being confusing for newer players. The next issue is how inconsistently the levels are rated. The current top 1 is rated 5B, the current top 4 is rated 8E, and the current top 60 is also rated 5B. Only one of these levels is rated consistently with the main scale. This example does happen to be an outlier, but still happens fairly frequently, especially in the 4 to 8E range where things are just completely all over the place. One thing that helps combat this issue is that most main Apple level creators rate their levels consistently too high, consistently too low, or consistently on point. To help newer players out, here's how accurately most major level creators rate their levels and explosions. Calix and Kwok both consistently rate their levels a lower difficulty than they actually are. The Mad Punter consistently rates their levels a much higher difficulty than they actually are, but most other level creators such as Crackers, Orange Fruit, myself, Swirsky, and Michael all rate them on point. There are a couple other creators such as the Purple Banana or Sheep who really don't use a system or use their own system. But don't worry, it's still a miracle that the system works out as well as it does, because it's quite literally held together by hopes, dreams, and delusions. Michael was kind enough to make a video explaining the system and how to rate levels, in which when you think about it slightly more than like a couple seconds, it just starts falling apart completely.
In this video, Michael explains a lot of things behind he calculates the difficulties for different levels. In this, he creates a formula where he states that adding an extra checkpoint onto a level adds 0.5e, which he uses the example momentum edges. And then also, the same thing happens according to him when you have to beat a level 2 times in a row, or 3 times, or 4 times, which you see in Monstrosity. This doesn't really make sense, because you can then just spam checkpoints and increase a level's difficulty rating to insane heights. Like, beating Radiation, the 6th most difficult level 20 times in a row, would be equivalent to beating Key Success, the 2nd most difficult level, just once. This is stupid and makes no sense. He also uses clear rate theory, which states that the number of wins divided by the number of plays gives an accurate view on difficulty, which it really doesn't. First of all, he doesn't account for people beating it abnormally quickly or abnormally slowly. He's pretty much bringing up statistics without bringing up statistics. Clear rate theory also falls apart when you start practicing a level, since for whether you include practice or not majorly affects what the level's difficulty would be. His statistics also have many inconsistent variables. Honestly, the best way to describe this system is that Michael just did things, and somehow this abomination worked, with all its flaws. So how did explosions become Apple's main difficulty system? Well, Absurd Apple is very popular, and it was one of the first very difficult level packs that started pushing the skill of players much higher. so his system just kinda stuck. There are a ton of other different systems, such as the sheep or Kwoktaw scale, that work much better. So why don't we use these systems? Well, change is difficult, especially when it's a system that still kinda works, so it won't really change unless we actually actively make an effort to change it. There are also a couple of positive aspects of the system that sets it apart from other difficulty systems in Apple. It's really the only system that uses a unique unit, whereas most other difficulty systems are more tiered units, or just a number. These tiered difficulty systems aren't just commonly seen in Apple, they're also seen in other notoriously difficult games such as Geometry Dash, Celeste, and Ito. So now we can take what we learned and make some minor corrections to Punter's video. Ooh, what's this? Hmm. Look familiar, Punter? Look familiar? How come you started working on this project right after I posted about it in AppleCore? How come all of the things I posted about seem to appear in Continuum Collapse? Punter? Theft much? Anyway, the video is all in all pretty accurate, and a good intro to most of Apple's difficulty systems. But there are still a couple errors. First off, the jump from 3E to 4E is nowhere near the biggest jump in the game. Sure, it is the biggest jump in the levels that are still fairly easy, but the jump from being able to beat bomb levels is a fair amount bigger, with every bomb level jump after that being even larger. Next, when getting up to 8E, you won't actually see many frame perfects unless the levels they are in is incredibly short, or focuses around a certain mechanic that is frame perfect, such as push that corner. However, what does start becoming more common in this range is one-frame jump inputs. These are required for light jumps, which are not the most difficult trick in the game. And light jumps start appearing in that 7 to 8E range and aren't true frame perfects, which really only start appearing in the more difficult bomb levels, with a few outliers in lower bomb levels such as Son of a Clip. Another small thing is that levels above 5B are still humanly possible, but would just take insane amounts of grinding. Those are my small main corrections to that video, and other than that, it's a pretty good explanation. It covers the basics, and unless you really start getting really good at Apple, you won't really need a deeper knowledge of the system. Good job, Punter. I approve. So, how could we fix this issue? Well, my expert team has spent hundreds of hours researching and taking inspiration from Punter and Apple Continuum Collapse, and came up with the incredible idea of borrowing ideas. But don't worry, I might have been cooking up a new difficulty system that works fairly well, taking the good things from the E-number system and removing a lot of that confusion. But this, however, is a future video, so if you want to see it when it comes out, do all the YouTube things. Anyway, back to Crystalline Peaks.